Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where we talk about skincare, grooming, and sometimes hair, so if that sounds like your thing, make sure you are subscribed. Also, come and follow me on Instagram where I post a lot of stuff you're not going to see here on YouTube. First of all, I just have to say, please excuse how shiny I am, but my skin has become so dehydrated and dry literally overnight, so I have the most occlusive moisturizer I could find on my face, so I'm not taking any chances, so please ignore it. I look ridiculous. Probably a big mistake to do that before I start filming, but nice segue into today's video. A while back I made a video about beauty guru, mainly Instagram beauty guru, mistakes. And these were very misleading, weird things that beauty influencers do in their videos. And I felt so bad. I honestly felt so bad. I sent the video to quite a few of you guys, like who I talked to on Instagram before I posted it, and said like, is this too bitchy? I sent it to friends and family to ask if it was too bitchy. Then once it was posted, I was like, I feel terrible, and I spent an hour wondering if I should take the video down. And because I'm a big believer in karma, today's video is going to be about mistakes that I've made in the past and more recently. I made a video like this last year, back in 2018. I think it was called like the worst advice I've ever given, so also go and check that out as well. Okay, so let's start off by talking about beauty influencers in general, beauty gurus. First of all, I hate that name. Whenever I work with a company or whenever I'm doing like interviews and stuff, I always ask not to be called a guru or an influencer because it makes me cringe a bit. I'm not here to influence anyone into doing anything. I'm also not a guru. I just don't have that level of expertise. I'm a skincare enthusiast who's taken a hobby too far, is what I say. But I think that's relevant when it comes to nearly every influencers, range from fitness influencers, skincare, lifestyle. A lot of the things we talk about we present as advice when really it's just our personal experiences. Like on here I share what works for me, what hasn't worked for me, my experience with products and how that matches up to the claims that that brand makes. So everything I say and everything beauty gurus say should be taken with a grain of salt. Pinch of salt, grain of salt. I make these videos to serve as inspiration, show you a few products that you may have never known, products that might work for you to then go off and kind of do your own research and figure out what's going to work for you. But there's so much information out there and a lot of it is wrong information. And with this wealth of information, a lot of it's going to be inaccurate. So there's going to be mistakes made over the years. So let's get into watching some of my mistakes. So why don't we take a look at the very first skincare video I did on this channel. I can't remember when this was. I think this was like 2015. Let's have a look.
Then I take my muslin cloth and in a circular motion I gently buff my skin. This is going to boost the blood circulation to my skin, which helps even out my skin tone. And then I pat dry my face with a towel. I pat because skin is so sensitive and should never be rubbed.
Okay. Few things. I sound so young in that. Well, how old was I? 25? Do 25-year-olds sound like that? I don't think so. I don't think 30-year-olds sound like this, to be fair. Okay, so I say I gently buff my skin with a muslin cloth because it helps boost the blood circulation to my skin and makes my skin look more even. Is that what I said? Evens out my skin tone. That sounds like absolute bullshit to me. Like, where did I get that from? Where did I read that? Where does that come from? That sounds like a product claim to me, so maybe when I bought the cloth, that's what they said it was used for. And back in these days, I did kind of just believe what I read on the packaging, if that makes sense. As far as boosting blood circulation to my skin, I remember my skin would get red and I'd be like, oh yes, blood circulation. That's not a good sign. I think I'm basically irritating my skin there, no? And I think it's funny how I rub my skin with that cloth and then I go on to say how I pat my skin with a towel. Because you should never rub your skin. What a f***ing idiot. My God. What the actual fuck? I wouldn't dare do that to my skin now. I'm very, very prone to redness. If I did that now, my skin would be so irritated, inflamed, red on the cheeks. I mean, it looks harsh. I'm rubbing my skin, I'm pulling on my skin. I think you can use like a cloth or even like a cotton pad to gently exfoliate your skin. For me, personally, it's irritating. It's chemical exfoliators all the way for me nowadays anyway. So it gets worse. This is possibly one of the worst things I've ever said. Let's have a look at this. This is from a skincare routine video. First of all, my hair looks horrific in this. Like, I don't know what it is.
I really like this one. I really recommend this one as well. This step I do 2 to 3 times a week. Me personally, I do it 3 times a week because I'm very, very oily. And this is exfoliate. This is Zara.
This is Zara's face scrub. This really is just a very basic face scrub, but that's all you need. You don't need anything fancy, because all this is going to do is exfoliate away all those dead skin cells that can clog your pores, give you spots, blackheads, and also make your skin look incredibly dull. Okay, I said it's literally just a face scrub. You don't need anything fancy. You do need something fancy, I personally believe. Also, that Zara scrub was pretty shit. I remember a month later being like, I'm not actually liking this. So exfoliating, as I mentioned, for me personally, it could be one of the most irritating steps of my routine. Even my skin's absolutely fine. And that's whether it's chemical exfoliating or physical scrub. My skin can either be absolutely fine with it, or it will just go a bit crazy and break out and look very, very irritated and inflamed. Yeah, and I feel like it could potentially be one of the most irritating steps of your routine. I actually stopped using physical exfoliators because I noticed my skin was getting red and inflamed every time I used one. I think that had a lot to do with the pressure I was putting on, like scrubbing away, you know, you're kind of tempted to scrub at your skin really harshly. And luckily I found chemical exfoliators. That's not to say every single one works for me. I still can come across a chemical exfoliator that's maybe a bit too harsh for me. And I think when it comes to skincare in general, whatever product, any old product won't do. I think it's got to be right for your skin, your personal skin. I'm not talking about skin types, like your specific skin. And especially when it has the potential to irritate, like a chemical exfoliator or a scrub, I think you've got to be really careful with what you pick. So no, any old exfoliator won't do. So this next video from quite a few years back was when I believed everything I read on packaging. Like I would take the product for face value if I really liked the brand. And this clip is from a video called How to Remove Dark Circles from Under Your Eyes.
And a lot more alert. Then during the evening, I like something a little bit heavier, so I like to use Midnight Recovery by Kiehl's. Again, this has some really nice plumping agents and moisturizing agents in it, but it's just going to give your skin that extra plump it needs to help reduce the appearance of those blood vessels under the eyes. This also helps you wake up a lot less puffy and makes you look a little bit more alert in the morning anyway as well. A few more unconventional things, I like to use eye patches. These are little collagen patches that sit under your eyes. They are rich with vitamins, vitamin C, again helping to plump out that area. If you've got bags under your eyes, dark circles, these are really, really good at depuffing the area. But also I find if you keep these on for about 40 minutes, they actually lighten that area as well. It's temporary, only lasts, you know, that morning maybe to make you look a lot more alert, but
Okay, so there's a few things going on here. Literally, none of these products are going to get rid of your dark circles. I remember the Kiehl's one I really loved at the time. I would wake up looking more and more refreshed, but that's purely because it was a good moisturizer. And that's what eye creams are really, is just moisturizer in a smaller tube, you know? But a moisturizer that's made to go under that delicate area. Also, I'm putting that way too close to my eye. It actually made me gag. Like seeing my eye like twitch, it going underneath. I still do that to this day, and I know I shouldn't do it. I do this thing where I go up here and I go up here, and it's usually because I overuse the eye cream, so I'm just trying to spread it out as much as possible. If there was an eye cream that would genuinely remove dark circles, I honestly feel like it'd be front page news, because that eye cream would have to cover a few factors when it comes to dark circles, because it's not just a one size fits all as to what is causing those dark circles. So it could be genetics, melanin, pigmentation, blood vessels, etc. It would have to target everything, and I don't think there is currently an eye cream that targets all those things. And I do feel like a lot of eye creams are like a placebo as well, whereas then you use it and you're like, ooh, I look great, I look really awake. There's an eye cream I'm using at the moment, it really nicely nourishes and moisturizes under the eyes, and it does make them look brighter, but I know it's because it's kind of like just for light reflecting off the well moisturized under eyes. Oh, and also I had fillers under my eyes, huge part to do with that. That's one of the only things that are actually going to help with those dark circles. But talking about those eye patches, those eye patches are actually so good. But there is a few things wrong there. So it's covered in serum. That is what that one particular eye patch was pretty good. And to get the effect, so you'd have to use it every single day. It's literally just an eye creamy serum. So you would have to use these patches like you would do every day, like an eye cream. Now, I talked about keeping them on for 40 minutes, and they did. I remember I used to keep them on for so long, and would really make my eyes look smooth and brighter somehow and depuffed. But I actually think that's because they were drying them the fuck out. You do not need to keep something like that on your skin for longer than 10 minutes. Even face masks, when it's like 15 to 20 minutes. I sometimes just keep it on for 5 because it's literally just a serum that you keep on and then pat in. you shouldn't be keeping something on your face for over its recommended time. And even though, yes, they did seem to help with their dark circles, maybe for like a few hours, it's not something you should be doing. And looking back, I do think they really dried out my under eyes. Okay, let's watch this cleanser video. This is a video called The Best Cleansers for Oily Skin. I miss my hair being like this and being skinny.
Next up, a product that I'm surprisingly impressed with, and that is Biore's Deep Pore Charcoal Cleanser. Now, I'm a massive fan of the brand Biore. I use their nose pore strips, I think they're incredible. And this is pretty much the same thing as the Cold Face Cleanser from Lush, just a bit more available for you guys, easily available. So again, the charcoal traps up to 2 times more the amount of dirt and impurities from your skin as a normal face wash would do. That's because that charcoal is kind of like a magnet and just kind of draws out all those impurities.
Is it though? Guys, I really miss my hair being that dark grey, and my eyebrows look good there, and I'm skinny there as well. But activated charcoal doesn't act like a magnet. This is something I feel brands say not to intentionally lie, but to kind of dumb down what activated charcoal actually does within cosmetics. So we as average consumers kind of understand it, but it also hypes up the effectiveness of the product. So yeah, they lie actually, they're lying. So Lab Muffin Beauty Science. Michelle Wong has a PhD in chemistry, who I highly recommend. Her channel is amazing. I've talked about it before, but I love all the research that she presents. It's usually from both sides of the argument, but with actual findings. So she talks a lot about beauty trends and busting myths with science. I'm gonna link her down below because her channel is amazing. But she's done an amazing video on activated charcoal, and she explains that it's less of a magnet and more of a ball of glue, and explains that the activated charcoal needs to physically make contact with the dirt for it to be able to wash it away. The next clip, there's quite a few wrong things going on here, and what annoys me most about this clip is I know better. This video is about removing dark spots, and it kills me. Let's watch it.
In tone by evening out redness and dark spots. So this one actually contains natural AHA and BHA components and chemicals effective in skin whitening, providing an even and bright complexion. And you can actually use this kind of like a direct dark spot treatment. So instead of using it all over your face, which I like to do in general, you can apply this bang on the dark spot, tap it in gently, and kind of leave that on there to do its job. You can actually use a
Okay. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so annoyed with myself. So where do I start? Let's start with the most obvious. Do not touch the dropper on your skin. I knew this. I know this now. I knew this then. I knew it before making that video. I don't actually know what the fuck I was doing. And this is an example of using a product to try and show its effectiveness on video. That's not how I would use that as a direct spot treatment at all. I'd either drop it on or I'd put a little bit on my finger, then tap it in. I would never go like that. Like, what's the point? But I think it was to stress that is a direct spot treatment, which is stupid. I remember someone commented on that video, quite a few people commented saying you shouldn't put the dropper in your skin. I was like, I know, why are you saying this? And then I watched the video back and I was like, why did I do that? Oh, it's so annoying. So annoying. However, what I am very good at is putting the dropper very, very close to my skin without actually touching. I've had years of practice, but I'm good at kind of like running it along like you saw in that video. It did make contact with my skin in that video, but I'm very good at putting it, like hovering it near the skin to avoid any droplets, and super quick at applying. So in some other videos, people are like, don't put it on your skin. I'm like, it's actually not. You can see the shadow, like where it's not touching my skin. But yeah, don't let it touch your skin for obvious hygiene reasons. It's like dipping your finger in a pot and bring it back out again, you know, there's no point. Another thing I do in that video is use way too much product, way too much product. I talked about a lady in my other guru video who was doing it, and there I am, just letting it drip down my head. I actually say don't do it this way because it drips down, and then I'm like wasting product on my forehead horizontally. Someone actually mentioned that you shouldn't use the dropper, you shouldn't put a serum, do boop boop boop, because it's leaving the product open and exposed, like exposed to bacteria, and you should instead put the serum in your hand and then pat it in. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think there's much of a difference if you're putting out the dropper, putting in your palm and putting back in, if you can quickly do dot 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 and you're not touching your skin. And that's another thing from comments, is that a lot of people think that the droppers are purely for hygiene reasons, which I believe is a factor. But I think if it was really purely for hygiene reasons, they would come in a pump bottle like a lot of serums do. In fact, when serums were first kind of launched to consumers, the packaging was actually a bit of a gimmick. These were like new, expensive, luxury skincare products. So brands started using droppers for serums and ampoules to kind of like, to almost express the effectiveness of their product, to give it that pharmaceutical kind of professional look to it, which gives the idea of professional results. And it gives you that feeling of luxury because they're expensive and they're concentrated, and that is really why they're in droppers like that. That's why if you look at a serum that's in a pump bottle, I'm like, no thank you. There is something about the droppers that make it feel like super nice, but also precision, of course. But yeah, I think to round that up, don't put the dropper on your skin. Like, what is wrong with you? And if you can't let it hover on your skin, just put it in the palm of your hand and tap it in very gently. So there we go. I hope karma is restored, rebalanced, whatever it is. We all make mistakes. We're learning every day, remember, as well. So don't be embarrassed of your mistakes. Let's just all admit to it and learn. Carry on from here. So yeah, keep being entertained by skincare content. Don't take skincare too seriously, but it's also good to do your own research and learn what works for you. But that is it from me now, guys. I will see you next time.